Okay, welcome to the PPRC podcast. I am your host, Rero, and this is my co-host, the Green Idiot,
Yes, please use my surname.
Mr. Green Idiot.
Thank you.
Do you like we do a lot of shorthand stuff, so do you prefer green? Do you prefer idiot? Do you prefer TGI?
Well, the TGI thing I think is because of Tony, and I have not been able to escape that. Um, to be fair, it is the logo I use. But fun fact about that, I came up with TGI just as like placeholder letters while I was fiddling around with graphics and stuff, and that's how I got my name. Just random letters. And in hindsight, I should not have named myself after a color because it can get confusing when you're playing with random people. Okay.
Well, now you make me want to ask you some questions about how you got to be the Green Idiot and how you made your profile picture. But I guess we can do that in a separate interview. So,
Yes. Which will be the season finale.
sure, let's see how long. Anyway, thanks for joining the podcast since
Yes.
it's just me and you today.
I'm sure Dead Set will come along eventually. If not, I will give words of wisdom.
Let's go. So, there's been an article back in January, and this was about Valve Software reveals new rules for AI-powered game development on Steam. And so, going forward, these developers would need to declare if they're using some kind of AI generation to make the content in their games and to inform I guess, the gamer.
um, I would say that is very responsible of Steam and Valve to do that. I think AI is a tool, but it is also more than that. It is a collection of, data.
So let's start off
Uh,
with what we use AI for. Like personally, we use it for like what we're more used to like as a gamer, the bot as an AI, but that's not really the kind of AI we're talking about, right?
no, no, that is more of what is it? It's I'm forgetting the name for it, but it's a NCP. That's what it is.
NPC,
NPC.
non-playable character, right?
Yes. So it's not necessarily intelligent. It is, it can't think on its own. It has its own program list to follow.
I
Compared with
remember tweaking tweaking the bot settings for Ready or Not, and so all it is a bunch of parameters of giving it an option to do things within a certain like pathway.
yeah, but compare that to what AI is right now. It's it is learning. It's
So
getting more data sets.
yes, the key is machine learning and all this data is being compiled. And so, do you use any AI tools, by the way?
Every once in a while, like for this newer logo of mine, I did use it for the marble effect. Just because I can't paint, so
What do you mean you use an AI tool, such as like you text to art, or is like a tool?
yeah, yeah, text art.
Oh,
I
really?
forget
Okay.
what I forget what prompts I gave, and I don't remember if I made this circle or not. But yeah, it was it for me personally. I know what I want. I just don't have the tools or the knowledge to get there. So that's what I use AI for, is to fill in my gaps.
Oh, that's cool. So I'm pretty sure you know, the PPRC podcast is AI generated. I was playing around with the AI generation art. I believe it's called uh, Stable Diffusion, where you run it locally on your computer. Requires
Yeah,
a shit ton of RAM, VRAM essentially, and or CPU. And so it like by running it on your computer, you can do some all sorts of stuff that you won't be able to do on the say a web based.
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people right now are using either AI for just making images that they want to use, or you know, bodies of text. That's like generally overall that's the main thing people are using it for.
So I do want to go deeper into the AI art, but let's talk about the I guess the first big hit, which was Chat GPT. Have you used it? You know, Chat GPT 4, stuff like that. No. It was only this year I used Chat GPT. I finally made an account. So I was quite surprised about its use practicality. Green, I think you muted your mic. There was a story where a lawyer used ChatGPT to find fake, like, find evidence for his case, and the court found out, and then it was immediately thrown out. Man, today's podcast is not going well. I suppose now I am a one-man show. How do I recover from this? Do I just cut this all out and continue like nothing happened?
Okay, what?
We had a good 5 minute, 4 minutes of like I'm talking to myself. How about
Yeah,
I just cut out the silent part and just you never left.
I think keep it no. Okay. What was it saying?
What were you saying?
Where did we leave off?
I was going to ask you about ChatGPT before the AI art.
So, Chat GPT for me personally was I didn't use it that much when it came out. I just didn't have much use for it. But I think the way that it's grown has mostly just been because of social media and also because people like to cheat for school.
So I was
But
telling the listener that I read an article where a lawyer tried using ChatGPT to provide evidence, and that got exposed, and then his case got thrown out.
yeah, good.
It's only recently I started using ChatGPT. Like I finally made an account because I didn't really see the value into it, and for what I use it for, which is like quick shopping or quick product answering, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely utility in it, and I don't know. I have a love hate kind of relationship with it because I for school in cheat like with cheating. Obviously, I don't necessarily agree with that, but like, let's say you're a programmer and you want to write a script just to test things out. You know, I think asking ChatGPT to write one for you and then fixing it after, I think it's a good tool to have.
Oh, that's true. I have watched a video where this guy he learned programming initially and then never got into it, but he started learning better when he used ChatGPT to help him
Yeah.
write the code.
Although I am worried though that companies will start using AI rather than humans, or just downsize and have people use ChatGPT to replace the people that they terminated.
Well, that's what's going on now. All the companies are trying to AI, bring the AI into their company somehow.
Yeah.
It's just a buzzword,
Which
which, yeah.
I am not in favor of, but also am in favor of. Like a couple of years ago, they were talking about self-driving trucks to like haul stuff across America, and a lot of people were, you know, understandably upset because it's taking jobs away from people. But in theory, if we wanted a utopia, then we wouldn't necessarily need humans to do those jobs.
Yeah, it's a matter of trying to get those people to reskill and try to get a different job. If they like trucking, then obviously trucking, AI trucking will be the end of them if they continue to be a driver.
Well, it's not even about like reskilling. Like I do think that's important. I think you should always build 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 upon yourself, but like um universal basic income is something that I would in theory be in favor of. Just because, you know, we made money up.
What is universal basic income? Minimum wage?
No, it's instead of like having to work for, you know, more money. You would have a basic. Let's say they wanted every household to have between 30 to 50K, depending on the house. Like if you lost your job, um, then you would be able to use universal basic income to help you, rather than go into debt and lose your house. Stuff like that.
How exactly does universal income help you? Is it similar to unemployment
It
benefits?
I kind of, but you don't have to, like unemployment. You have to be terminated without cause to actually get the full benefit. I think
Right, you need to make a
for me,
case.
well, for me, my place of employment sometimes has shutdown weeks, and if there's no work available, then I can file for unemployment, and I get like maybe $300, which isn't nothing, but I
It's
can't
better
live off of $300.
better than well,
Yeah,
it's okay.
yeah, it's gonna help me buy food. But rather than that, it's a social safety net, and you would have to. I don't know. It's
Well,
to
there is an article on it in Investopedia, so if you would like, I can read that out loud.
sure bring
It
it up on
is,
screen if you can.
uh, well, it won't be in the video, so I will just share it with,
With Yeah. All right, go ahead, start reading.
a government program in which every adult citizen receives a set amount of money regularly. So, is it kind of like Social Security, but for every adult? Okay. Universal Basic Income, UBI, is a concept in which every adult citizen receives an amount of money regularly. The goals of the basic income are to alleviate poverty and replace other need-based social programs that potentially require greater bureaucratic involvement. Hmm. Democratic candidate Andrew Yang made universal basic income key pillar.
I don't like that guy.
Why not? Well, he didn't go with it pretty far.
he's he's a weird centrist.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
It
It,
sounds
it
like it sounds like you're just printing money,
it wouldn't be
which
printing. Like,
hmm,
it's hard to describe because it is, no one's gonna do it. No country's gonna implement it. Which is, it's the way that our societies work is basically markets. You know,
this
we
capitalistic
have,
market. You have to.
well, not even capitalist. Like, there's communist markets.
Oh,
Like, the whole containment of um, what is it? Eisenhower's policy of containment. Like, they were stopping the spread of communism. One, because they didn't believe it was a good thing, which honestly, the way that it was executed was not. Um, but also, it's right now. It's kind of like there's South American countries that would rather trade with Russia or China because it's a different market and they have different regulations. There's not as much money compared to the U.S. market, but it's a different market. But with universal basic income, it's you can't just give people money and then expect them to do stuff for more money. I think a lot of people would take the money and then find ways to just live off of that, or you know
it sounds like
not work as
passive
hard.
income,
Yeah.
but you're not actually. Yeah, it won't actually generate like economic movement.
No. That's yeah. But in theory, in a utopian society where no one needs to have jobs, let's say, that would be how you would support people.
So to go back to our analogy, if the robotic trucks take over the trucking industry, then ideally they would be on these former truckers would be on basic income.
Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know much about this topic.
It's been years for me, so I'm not well versed in it. I Politics is something, in economics is something that I you know, used to research, but I haven't in like the past 4 years.
Oh, so you followed it before the pandemic, essentially.
Yeah, during like at the start, and then after that, you know, I got a real job. Just didn't
So
have time.
so guess going back to our AI art generator, there's been some complaints that from the artists, the tool will essentially replace, artists who make the art. And so I guess in a sense, I have replaced an artist because I could not have made this research club podcast art myself.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I think that you could have made it yourself. You
Sure, if I
just,
put in the time and effort to
yeah.
learn.
So in a way, yes, you are taking away one a commission piece from an artist, but you are saving your own money and time. everyone's time. I guess except for the programmers.
Oh yeah, I had to learn how to use the program and follow some examples online and play around with it as opposed to actually delving into art. I actually did
Yeah.
like when I was a kid, I used to do a lot of art, but I didn't really get into it later on. So,
Yeah. I mean, I think like you see that drawing in the on the website. You know, it took somebody time to make that, but I don't think they're making a living off of it. I don't know. It's a weird subject. For me, art is something that is all about expression, and when you are creating something just like a background image,
does it
there's
matter what tool you use? Like,
yeah.
would you call myself putting in these words creative?
I mean, in theory, it's hard to put things into words sometimes, but you have the vision in your head.
That's interesting. It feels less organic and more hard to understand.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like the first time I started using Mid Journey, I only use it for like a month.
What's
I
mid-journey?
it's a image generator
Okay.
program, and what I used it for was I wanted to try and get back into 3D modeling, and I knew what I wanted, but I wanted references so that I could, base it off of something. Now, did I go back and try and recreate it in 3D? No, but I got I got the references that I wanted to make my art.
Welcome,
Oh,
Chu, to the PPRC
special guest Chu.
podcast. You are now
Sorry,
our
what?
special guest.
Huh?
You are now our special guest.
Oh,
I don't know.
Congratulations.
Oh, I can't get this
yay.
stupid software to work. Sad. So far, we talked
Oop.
about AI art, AI ChatGPT, AI in games, how, Valve has released new rules, how developers must state when they're using AI generated content. And we were talking about the AI art.
And economics.
How has you have you used AI in your life, Chu?
I only use AI for like resumes and cover letters.
So the ChatGPT aspect,
Yeah.
or the alternative,
Gemini.
right? It's good. That's Google's. So Green and I have used the AI art generation, which is how much do you know about it, Chu?
Oh, the what evolution?
AI art generation. So to provide some context, you
Okay.
provide words, a prompt essentially, and then the program uses machine learning or what it thinks to recreate the the image. And
Oh
so
yeah.
for reference, the Green's profile picture is technically AI art generated. The podcast art is AI art generated.
I think the difference between text generation and art generation is the fact that it's not using it's not using techniques of art to make art. It's using pre-existing art rather than with words. It follows. most of the time it follows, the rules of grammar and, words. Everyone uses words. But for the image generation, it uses previous images and then compiles them.
Yeah, so any artist who posts their hand-drawn art onto the internet could be used as data just for the AI art generation. And that
Yeah.
kind of feels unfair because it's like they're working for nothing and then it gets stolen, I suppose.
Yeah. Wasn't there something in the news recently about ChatGPT using a data set that they weren't supposed to be using?
Could be. I haven't been following that recently.
I'm gonna Google it real quick.
And one of the activities I wanted to do today was run the Stable Diffusion art generation on the computer. But it seems like OBS Studio is sucking all my GPU for something, and I can't launch the program. So rest in peace. So True, have you used AI art generation?
No.
Would you like to try?
And make like funny pictures, I suppose. Funny and or offensive.
Funny or offensive? Or yeah. So let's see. If you go to the Discord stream, we have. Oh, I gotta change the screen, change window. We have hotpot.ai. Create art with an AI below. Let's see. Did it change the interface?
Yeah, so there's a lot of copyright lawsuits against ChatGPT right now because they're using data sets they're not supposed to be using.
That's spicy.
I want to say they used stuff from Google, and Google didn't do anything about it because Google wanted to use it, and I don't think Google's supposed to use it. But that's based off of memory, so
All right, so
can't be certain.
I entered bunny with a gun. Look at that. That looks pretty damn good. It could be
Can you
our
prompt it to revise the image?
some programs you can revise the image.
Yeah, this gun does not have a magazine. 4 out of 10.
Hmm. You can always rerun the generation. So that's pretty cute. So this is the it's using I guess a model for that
Yeah,
based off a cartoon based off a logo. A clean logo. So if I were to switch to sci-fi, it would look like that. And actually that's pretty good because anytime you ask to draw a gun, it fucks up in some way. So you want to try something? Oh, there's so many types of lore models. I've been playing around with some of them as well. Specifically the anime.
I wonder if like
yeah.
some small businesses would start using this to replace graphic designers for like their storefront logo or some shit like that.
I mean, I feel like graphic design as a field has just been oversaturated, anyways. Before this,
And give me a prompt, Chu. What do you want to see? Could be a hot anime girl to bunnies to tigers.
Dystopian city.
So that's more of a setting. So with these, they usually have a subject in the middle, and that's usually the first prompt. But we can see how that goes
You need a
for.
setting.
So
Oh, you
like
need a.
you can specify the background. Say like wasteland is a desert. So dystopian city would probably be okay. I'll do like girl in dystopian city, um, sci-fi. There you go.
So that's what the AI thinks is a dystopian city.
Well, it's also using the sci-fi preset, so we can try a different preset, and there's so many. Art like these are just art styles. Anime Korean one. Dystopian? I don't know.
It's like a Japanese city.
I mean, personally, for me, I don't see a big advantage of using these kind of tools. Like everyone will know that it's, AI generated.
Yeah,
And I think
you
that
can't tell.
and I think that is like that brings like certain like poor quality to mind. Like if you saw an ad with AI in it, you wouldn't assume they put a lot of work into it.
Well, surprisingly,
Didn't
it takes some effort to get the model right.
I think that new movie Civil War? I think for their posters they did use AI. Here we go with the bunny again.
Okay, how about green? You give me a prompt, and I'll put it in.
Um, 2006 Honda Pilot in space.
Is there a specific I don't know.
Steampunk.
Steampunk? Where's that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, good old
What?
Honda Pilot.
Like you can spend hours just trying to feed the algorithm, the AI algorithm, and it'll spit out something creative, I guess, something you would not
I
imagine.
mean, they did do pretty good with this, but it also looks like a CRV. So
You can try more.
Okay, write this. Carl Gustav with a Carl Gustav recoilless rifle.
Just send me the text prompt in chat so I can just copy it over.
In the podcast channel.
Sure. Also, I got my stable diffusion thing working, so I will set that up in a little bit. There we go. Set up. Carl Gustav holding a Carl Gustav. All right.
See how this will break. What? Are you kidding me?
take it out of steampunk.
Take a what?
Take it out of steampunk.
All right. We'll give him a. I don't know what this one is. Now the guns are always fucked up, but sometimes they make the models decent.
That no best out.
Look at those guns. They have 2 barrels.
How about the 2 birds and a stone?
All right, Green sent me something. The meaning of life. So put
I
your
thought I'd ask.
for the prompt or for me.
The prompt.
All right, let's give it a.
Yeah, that's what I
Bacon.
thought.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
What?
Is there a cow inside that bacon?
Yeah.
Looks like a pig.
That's so messed up. The meaning of life is self-consumption.
So the problem I have with these AI art generators is that the free ones limit you, and they're always trying to monetize somehow. You're paying
Okay,
for like
let's do like incognito mode. Don't you know incognito mode?
I guess I could try incognito mode. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that works. You can also use a seed image. So let's say I set up the I put in the PewPee Research Club podcast, and I give it the meaning of life. Let's see how well that works. Of course,
I
it's a
I
little bit
don't think it
ugly.
worked. Change the seed.
Change the seed. You can also give it a there's a value you can put it. So 0.022. Change the seed to what? Ask AI for ideas.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't I show you what I've been doing or what I was doing in
Okay.
Stable Diffusion?
Hi, Dad.
Yeah. Yo.
So this is running on my computer. You guys can see it, right? The webpage?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a basic model you can download. So we'll just keep with main and then I have a bunch of these. Let's go with free run. See how long it takes. You can actually watch it generate it, and depending on your input in the model, you can watch it generate. Man, everyone's so late today.
Hey, I was early.
You were the first one, Green, so maybe yeah, you should be the main host. Oh, what is
It's a lot of
this?
responsibility.
Nice abstract.
Yeah. People train their models based on like existing images. So it could be a character, it could be like a figurine, like a pose. It could be weapon. Oh man, I forgot all my prompts. I had them. I was trying to. I think I deleted them all. So if you have a NVIDIA GPU, it's actually faster because it has the CUDA cores. I'm running on AMD, so it's a bit different. There's a little
Yeah.
bit of a hack to run the software.
See, if this is all that AI was, then I don't think anyone would be too concerned. I think the main concern is with deep fakes and fake voices.
Oh, excellent topic, Green. I guess we can do this another time. But yeah, so I've been trying to look into AI voice generation as well. So you provide a text, it sounds okay.
Well, I mean,
And
the more data you have on that voice, the better it's going to sound.
on a phone call, it sounds
Oh yeah.
almost identical, like 85%. But you can kind of tell if you pay attention carefully.
I've been seeing some like Instagram reels where like there's a girl who's um quote unquote dating ChatGPT. And they're having a conversation and then ChatGPT is acting like the boyfriend, so they're giving out these like very, I don't want to say cheesy, but like yeah, maybe cheesy responses.
Shoot, you just remind me of something. You can there's a website where you can pay and it will simulate texting an anime character or some other character based on the based on prompts, based on like the machine learning. So, and there was a video I watched where they created an AI using ChatGPT for some dead woman's husband. And so all his messages were used as data points and they sold it to the woman. Like she volunteered it because she wanted to talk to her husband again after he died. And so during the first test, she cried because the text she got it just sounded the same or something like that. Could AI replace like keep our dead people alive? That's it. If you died and we kept all your chat history and your voice, we could make a bot out of you.
Woohoo!
How would you feel about that?
Cool, man.
I don't
He's all for
I
it.
don't know if the dead person would consent to that.
But they're dead, so it doesn't matter. And here we
No,
have a dead.
there's still issues of like consent and privacy for dead people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
think it depends on the context. Like for movies and stuff like that, where it's like art, I think it is a moral positive to continue the art if it isn't finished, and if you have
Well,
those
I mean they
tools.
don't that's the thing with copyright though.
Well, you
They don't own the
you can
copyright.
consent before you die, or the family can consent on your behalf, or the estate, I should say.
We have an article here from CNN. Anna Schultz, a 25-year-old from Illinois, misses her husband, and so she loads up Snapchat My AI. It's a chatbot to message Kyle the ingredients, then he suggests what to make. So the AI would talk back.
Hmm.
And
But then
so
the other thought is that okay, this person should just accept what happened and
Yeah.
move on.
If it's part of a grieving process, I understand, or if it's part of a therapy, then that I think would be fine. But to hold on to somebody, even if they are a part of your life, I think is not healthy.
yeah, I agree. And the fact that the morality of these companies providing these services is in a really gray zone.
Yeah, I mean, with graveyards, the whole point is the final place to rest. Like that's where you go if you need to talk to them. But it's not them talking back, it's you talking to them. It's you talking to yourself. It's you talking to an idea.
So it's not just texting. The article says that this this IT professional, he actually recorded, he got a 3-minute video clip from his dad, and then he was able to clone the voice. And so now he has the voice kind of digitized and forever eternal. It would, if we did that at the dead set, that would be, I don't know how I would feel.
I think it would take him from being a person to being a character.
It would make him less than a human. You would make him an asset.
What?
And we would never do that here.
Oh man.
Well, we kind of already did with all these soundboards.
Dang it.
Yeah.
But those are recordings. Those are not
Those were
AI.
consensual. Those were consensual.
Like, if it would be different if we took these voice recordings, trained the AI to simulate his voice, and then used it for other purposes.
Yeah, making him say something very racist.
Obviously, if he's dead, then it won't matter. Well, maybe, I don't know. But if he's alive, then it could cause some harming effects.
Yeah.
I look forward to the next election where they say
I
that
don't look forward to the next election.
that they say that the voice cloning will trick people, and I don't know.
I mean, it already has.
Yeah.
I feel like, even without just clipping them out of context. And
Have you ever listened, like, seen these content?
Yeah, all the time. Even with just people like Joe Rogan, because
Oh,
people
yeah.
see him as a very, some people see him as a trustworthy source. So they will clip him, and then make it seem like he's saying something about something else. But I mean, nowadays I feel like politicians are just saying very outrageous stuff. So no one's gonna fact check it unless it's a news station.
Okay, well, talking about the current United States politician as a game instead of a serious thing is a different conversation. So
It always goes back to politics, man.
Yeah.
it could always spin into that.
When I'm here, that's where it goes.
Green has the history and, I don't know, expertise in politics.
I never said that.
Well, you follow more you follow it more than I do, and I just read
Yeah.
the news, and it's not my hobby.
It is a hobby. Not a good one. All right, so back on topic.
Yeah. Would you use AI tools in the future?
I think I would if it's being used as a tool.
How about
Yeah.
if you would use it to record yourself and create a alternate AI bot based on your your voice, and then you program it to respond to like voice calls for you? Would you do that?
Woohoo! I can do that.
Probably not. I with I if I'm gone, let me be gone. You know.
They say all you need is 3 seconds of your voice. So if they
Good thing
call
this
you,
podcast isn't going anywhere.
This
online
podcast
or anything.
this podcast is data for the future of someone to just rip our voices and train an AI and then become us.
Yeah, I'll code switch. I'll change dialects. They'll never know.
In a way, the podcast does immortalize our conversations, but it's when you use it for machine learning, then it could go either way, malicious or hell. It would be interesting if we ran the podcast just using AI bots.
Well, somebody did that with George Carlin's voice. They made a like an hour-long special with his voice without the estate's consent. It wasn't very good, but they got in trouble for it.
Of course it did. Like, if we had a text to speech that simulated your own voice, or trained an AI, ChatGPT, to provide your, similar kind of response, then Chu here, who's just sitting in silence, doesn't even have to say anything. He just has to run the program and sit back.
Yeah, but I think I think that takes the human out of everything. And the thing about being human is that we think that being human is very special, so we like it.
I don't know. The way the future is going is kind of cyberpunk, dystopian. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
No, I think it's the same world, but it's just gonna be different. You know, I don't think we're gonna get to a point where it's gonna be cyberpunk. There are limitations, but I think for the most part, it's just gonna stay the same. You know, like I think about this all the time, where it's like 100 years is a long time, but in the scope of history, that's you know not that much. Like there's been 100 years of peace and 100 years of war, so I don't think we're gonna get to a. I don't think we're gonna live in a world where it's always war. I don't think we're gonna live in a world where it's always gonna be peace.
If we're talking technological advancements, I would say in the past 25 years, it's been like it's been crazy, man.
Yeah, um,
Yeah.
but if you look at third world countries, they don't see any of that. And what's gonna stop us from nuking each other and those people being the only ones left?
I don't know.
You never know which way the world's gonna go, but
Well, in terms
I,
of AI, I do think that there will be a point where we don't simply understand it, but we have to use it and it's necessary. And so then we've like kind of reached the singularity point, if we haven't already.
well, I think with most things, it just comes back to what's profitable. I don't think that AI has a very strong it's not very profitable. Like it has its uses, but what it is now and what I think it's going to be is not something that's gonna generate enough money to get it to where a like cyberpunk civilization would go.
Well, it's in baby steps. So the last thing I heard about from OpenAI was they're replacing stock footage with prompts. So you can actually make a short video out of words. And instead of having someone go out there to the field to record, like, say, a lighthouse pan, you can just type in text and it'll generate it for you. Obviously, there will be some errors. So, point is that it's starting to like revolutionize, and it happened so quick within the past 3 years, I'd say.
Do you think that the reason we are in this situation is because we wanted to be? Like, I feel like if sci-fi wasn't that big, if Star Wars wasn't a thing, if all those, robots, AI, all that stuff wasn't in the public's mindset, I don't think we would be here. I think we'd be somewhere very different.
Any thoughts?
Maybe steampunk world.
Powered by Steam.
Steam powered.
There are probably several in the history of our technological advances, like several key points which have gotten us here. So I wouldn't say it's just based off the fiction. Like, there are always people thinking outside the box. I was reading
Yeah.
the Do Androids Dream of Jeep? And one of the devices they used was a device that can manipulate your mood. So all you had to do was dial in a setting, say you were ready for work, say you wanted to watch TV, and it would be a machine which can manipulate your emotions and your mental state. So I would say back then it was impossible. Now it's not too far off. It's just chemicals in our brain.
Yeah, but I think nowadays we have medication for that, and it's a good thing. But I hear all the time, like, it does regulate you, but if you stay in that kind of that zone, you start to, feel uneasy about not being sad sometimes. Not to mention, if you could just dial it to like high dopamine, high serotonin, then you'd either get addicted or you would feel very sad when you're not on the dial,
To go back to your question, your main question was whether it was inevitable. I would say as long as human imagination can conceive it, it is always possibility is always there.
Hmm.
Space, next frontier. Elon Musk is going to get to Mars. Will we see
That's
it?
kind of funny because AI has no imagination per
Oh, good
se.
point.
Not
So
yet.
relying on AI to become like the next, I guess, phase of the human race would not really work. In the end, AI still is just a tool. It's not going to replace
If we reach
as much.
singularity and the AI does become sentient and creative in a way, it could be possible where it stops being a tool and then humanity is technically below AI.
I mean, I think for that to work, I think right now we train AI with um, points, right? So if they do something right, they get a point. If they do something wrong, they don't get a point, and they're trained to want to get points. So in that kind of way, it's kind of like dopamine or serotonin. It's not too
But,
far off.
but who says that doing something will give them a point?
Well, who says that going swimming makes you happy.
Yeah, so AI still won't know. It's only what we tell them.
Well, how do we know? Isn't it from our genetic code?
Speaking of genetic code, you know how like someone or God programmed males to kind of evaluate the female form as for you know viable for birth. That was something programmed to allow every guy technically, and shit, I forgot what I was
mean,
gonna say.
that's not just
evolution.
humans.
That's evolution, though.
Yeah, that's the need to continue the species.
Yeah.
I think a part of that though is the fact that we know we're gonna die someday, so we have to, you know, continue the species. So if there was something immortal like AI, I don't know how it would act with that. Maybe it'd become a whole Matrix situation where we become batteries.
Or there will be multiple AI like entities out there in secret or in public, and they will be controlling the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you ask a text or an AI right now, like what makes them happy, what drives them, they'd say to help people. Not, I don't know how far along you'd have to break the code to get an answer that's different from that, but the way that it's set up now, I think most um, data models can't access past 2022, something like that.
Why
I
don't why
don't
don't
know.
we all tie this into gaming then as a last topic? Say there's a game that has very good AI, or it simulates their AI too well. Would you call them human or sentient? Or
Call
would you
them
think
hackers.
it's a game?
I could call them cheaters, and then I'd rage quit probably.
Well, say you do like an RPG, like you have these NPCs, they have their own AI, so you can interact with them, and they don't have any powers besides, I guess, trying to live their daily lives. Would you play a game where if you killed them, they wouldn't respawn? Would it feel like reality?
I don't know. I think for me personally, like with Minecraft, the animals kind of act like animals. They do animal things. People still go out and farm them.
Yeah, but they're animals.
Yeah.
If the
So
AI,
if it was humans, I think, or if the AI was acting like humans, I think that would just reflect your um, your thoughts in that moment.
would you feel guilty if you had to kill them?
It depends on the context.
Say,
Like there's a separation between a game and real world. Even a separation between the real world and the internet and social media platforms. Like you have people hacking and modding and then griefing people, like let's say in Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm sure they don't feel bad about it.
well, there's some obvious limitations where the NPCs act like NPCs. However, sometimes in the future where they it becomes near indistinguishable, then what?
I think that if it was Tony, he would find a way to exploit them, make them grow his wheat for him.
We have a lot of these kinds of scenarios in the media where the AI gets so good where it's almost as if you're going into another reality. And so, if you were to play that game, how would you treat it as? Reality or a game?
It depends on the mindset you're going in with. I personally don't think that it's a healthy way to escape reality.
Well, you're not
But
escaping,
that's
you're just partaking into it. Say, like an MMO. It's like a second life, I guess.
well, for some people, Second Life was not like they invested a lot of time in it. And then let's say Valve shuts down, then your world is gone. All those fake people that you knew. With AI, I think it's kind of, for me, like VR. It's something that was going to be bigger. It still might get bigger, but it's not something that a vast majority of people can afford or have time to use. So I don't think it's not gonna be like a refrigerator, the invention of the refrigerator.
Tell me your thoughts, Chu, and that's it. Would you play a game where it almost seems real?
Hmm.
How real are we talking about?
Say it's like virtual reality. If
Hmm.
it simulates reality almost as well as the real world, and these people you talk to, like these NPCs, seem pretty human.
I think there's applications for that. Like I say police training, right? They need to learn how to de-escalate. Then that could be a useful application. But as for game, I don't know. I'm playing games because I want to get away from reality, not immerse
Yeah.
myself into another one, per se.
Well,
Although
you'd be
there
like,
are some games like where just reality is sought, like I don't know, like Microsoft Flight Simulator. So there could be some niche games where reality is really what the whole objective of the game is to replicate that reality.
okay. So, from my understanding, is there's a certain like threshold which you would play if it kind of reminds you back of reality or is too complex, say, to be a
If it's
game.
if it's too real, it becomes a simulation rather than a game.
I mean, how many times in life have you wished that this wasn't, your life?
Oh, you want to go there?
Yeah, I want to go there. So, like, if you're in
Simulation
a
theory.
virtual situation, you can always leave if
Yeah.
it's not something you want. And I think that takes you out of the realism.
Like
There's a separation.
if I could walk out and then pretend that this was GTA 5 and just do whatever the hell I want because I know this is
Yeah.
not real. This is just AI.
I think the closest you can get to that feeling would be like moving to another country. But even then, it's like you're still just you
Yeah.
just in a different place.
Yeah.
You can't just take a headset off and then be back to the way things were.
Simulation theory is a theoretical hypothesis that says people think of reality as an actual very advanced, hyper-realistic simulation, possibly overseen by another being. So think of the world you live in that way, then what's there to
That's
say that we're not the Sims?
not just the Matrix.
Yeah, we're in the Matrix. Mhm.
I mean, as far as I know, I'm in control of my own actions and my own thoughts.
That's what you think.
Exactly, that's what you think.
Well,
Yeah.
if I can't tell the difference, then what's, you know, I don't know a way to get out of it. So there's I don't think there's a point in focusing on it.
So the illusion of truth is sufficient for you.
Well, I don't believe that there's an illusion. If I thought there was an illusion, then probably not.
Yeah. So if you thought there was an illusion, then you're seeking the truth.
Yes, but I don't think there's an illusion. So there is no truth to seek.